this is gonna sound a bit egotistical, but I have to say it.
Sure.
As a man that's been looked at as a sex object,
right?
Say, because you're a male stripper.
Yeah.
And I'm speaking for myself as well. You know, I shot Playgirl, Playgirl,
modeled, all of that.
Right. People expect you to be the person you were when you did that shoot.
Sure.
Or that, like you said, she came up and said you're getting fat. Somebody was like, oh, your abs not the same as it was. And it kind of crushes the ego a little bit. I'm not going to lie. It affected me a little bit.
Yeah, but...
How do you deal with that?
Well, here's the thing. I think that you can't hang your hat on... You can't hang your hat on the ego in the first place.
That's hard, though.
I agree.
I hung my hat on my abs. You know this.
I know that.
You know this.
I know that. I know. But here's the problem. It's you're hanging your hat on something. Here's the saloon door. It's the value that people put on that is the value that you gave yourself. Mm-hmm. Instead of understanding that you don't get to define me.
Right.
Even if you love my abs and you think I'm good looking and you think you don't get to define me, I get to define me. Right. And I understand that how the ego, you get that initial
rush, especially when you're getting money because of that attribute.
Here's a crazy thing. I had a guy who called me up and he had a lazy eye. Mm-hmm. Calls me up and says, yo, I got a lazy eye, blah 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 blah, whatever. I go, listen. If I ask you who you are as a human being, as a man, right? Mm-hmm. I said, well, what kind of guy are you? He goes, well, I'm kind, I'm intelligent, I'm a hard worker, I'm generous, I'm this. I go, not one time did you mention your lazy eye. So here's the thing. I get that having a lazy eye is a variable. What I'm saying is it's not the only variable. Right. So nobody is going to be with you because you don't have a lazy eye. That nobody dates a guy. You say to some girls, you go, I'm dating this dude. Well, what kind of guy is it? Well, he don't have a lazy eye. You never hear her say that. Mm-hmm. Because a lazy eye is not the measure of your character. Your abs are not the measure of your character. You are so much more than that.
It took me a minute to figure that. It's like I was Kareem and my abs was my hook shot.
I get you.
And I felt like my hook shot got shut down.
Right.
And it messed with my confidence a little bit.
Right, but that's because you were putting stake on, you were allowing your ego to be fed when you did have the abs by people who really you shouldn't have gave them that kind of control. You shouldn't have gave them that power over you in the first place. Yeah,
because this is around the time we started talking more and started talking about the intellectual side of hunting.
Right.
Yeah, and it just,
but the measure of your character, like I mean I've known you for like
I'm there 20 years.
Yeah, and so I don't mess with dudes who ain't real dudes. I just won't. And if I don't, I might be messing with you and you ain't a real dude because I don't know yet. But the minute I find out you're not a real dude, I'm not wasting my time with you. But to think that the measure of your character is your abs is absurd. Nobody dates your abs. If you had the abs that you had and you didn't have all those other things, like what if you got abs and you ain't got no sex game? You think she's gonna stick around? She's just gonna rub on your abs all the time? No. True. If you got abs and you're dumb as a rock, you don't know that cucumbers are made with the pickles are made with cucumbers. She's not gonna stick around.
It was laziness. Even though I put a lot of hard work into it, it was because I wanted to be lazy intellectually.
Right, absolutely.
I wanted to be, that game.
Dude, right now I'm probably in the worst shape that I've ever been. I'm also the oldest I've ever been, and I'm in the worst shape that I've ever been. But I understand what keeps me from really being the best version of myself physically is because I know that I have so much more to offer than just that. So now I got to do that. A good friend of mine, Joe DeRosa, had a joke. He goes, like, every time I try to work out and get more in shape, he goes, then you ladies have sex with me. And I go, I'm good. You know what I mean? Because that's how he valued himself, his ability to get women. The value has to be your value. You have to decide what your value is and what sacrifices you're willing to make. And I think, helping dudes and being righteous and being authentic and having credibility and having the empathy and still going down that intellectual rabbit hole, trying to be better and learn more, there's so much more I feel like I have to offer than I've ever had. When I was walking around with a six-pack, when I was the #1 stripper in the game, and who I am now is better than all of that.
How'd you feel about it when you first jumped into it? Because I remember when Playgirl came offer me, and I was like, damn, that's some nice money. But I thought about it, and I was like, no frontal nudity or anything.
Right.
But you think about it down the road. But I'm like, fuck that, It's like almost giving you, I don't say God status, but, to females.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How did you feel about it when you got into stripping?
Well, what's funny is a lot of times anybody who thinks I'm insightful, they always go, well, that's you. That's how you rock. Yeah, but I wasn't 5 years old and had game. I wasn't 15 years old and had game. I had to make mistakes I made mistakes to learn. So when I'm teaching dudes how to be better dudes, it's because I had to be a better dude. Do you know what I mean? So what happened to me was I was in a relationship, in a really serious relationship. I almost married the girl in college, and she was abusive. I was a dude in the street where a chick was screaming at me, calling me a bitch and all kinds of, walking away from me, and I'm walking away. Wait, talk to me. I mean, when I say that, guys who know me were like, well, I can't believe.
That's a hard one to believe.
But I was that dude. And what happened to me was, I really got into stripping because I wanted to make some money, and I knew that I could make money doing it. And then I was dating this girl, and she didn't mind because she didn't respect me at all. She wasn't even worried about me going out to. That's what a punk I was. And then I was going out. I was with her, and she was calling me all kinds of punks and hanging out with her ex-boyfriend who was crazy. And then I would go out to the shows, and 800 women would be chanting my name. And I was like, something ain't right. How come 800 women feel as though I have value, and the one chick that I'm in love with don't care? And what happened, it started to build my ego, but it also built my self-esteem. And then when I finally took a stand, I remember the first time I took a stand and I was ready to leave her, I went to leave her, and she literally jumped through my car window. I was pulling off, and she leaped through my car window, and then she stuck her leg through my steering wheel, wouldn't let me leave. So this was all a fraud. The minute I took a stance, she was like, wait a minute. And the whole thing clicked. It was like, you can't, and that's how I learned that you don't let somebody else define you. But I had let somebody define me for years. I was with this girl for 2-3 years. I lived with her. I didn't get my bachelor's degree because I dropped out of school because we were in an apartment that I couldn't afford, and she was like, don't destroy our home. And so I dropped out of school and got 2 jobs to pay the rent while she ended up getting a master's degree. I was writing her papers. Wow. So she could get her master's degree, and she was treating me like garbage.
That's how it happens, man. It's like they almost flip the game on you.
Yeah, sure.
Like, I feel like for every man to learn the game, he has to be abused.
You have to fall into a vat of awful bitches, and swim to the top, so that you can breathe again. And then when you get to the top, you go, okay, well, I'm still alive. And it's painful because there was other dudes. She was dating other dudes, and I was like trying to get. It was ugly.
While you were still with.
Yeah. So, this is my friend. I'm going out, and I was like, okay.
That's the worst, when you're with a girl and you know she cheating, but you still stay with her because you can't let her go.
Because you can't let her go.
You feel like a sucker.
Yeah.
Painful.
And you still. And you're not happy either way. You're not happy with her. You're not happy without her. But when you take that stand, here's an interesting. I had a dude that I was counseling, and because I do the one-on-one counseling. Go to DanteNero.com, click on consult. You can. I'll talk to you. I had a dude, 55-year-old dude, Started teaching him from the game up. A year into, his wife asked him to go to therapy, couples therapy. They went to the first session. At the first session, she asked for a divorce. So she made him spend the money for the couples there, and then she said, I want a divorce.
She wanted to do it in a public place so he couldn't flip out.
No, because he wasn't that kind of dude anyway. She didn't even respect him like that. So he calls me up. He's like, man, I don't know what to do, man. He married her 15 years, built a house, her dream house. Literally found a plot and built her house, circular heated driveway, the whole 9 yards. And he says to me, what do I do? And I go, give her the divorce immediately. And he was like, what do you mean? I was like, well, she wants a divorce. There's nothing. She's made it clear what she wants. Give her what she wants. So they're sitting at. Now she wasn't really ready, but she was talking that bravado. She had that bravado because she felt like she could. 2 days later, the doorbell rings. They're at dinner. Mr. So-and-so presents her with the divorce papers, and she loses it. You did that. You a coward? You didn't even tell me. He goes, you asked me, and I told him what to say. You asked me for the divorce. I'm giving it to you. I'm giving you what you want. Good luck. Now he didn't have that swagger yet. Then he goes, now what do I do? I go, now you go and do everything that you ever wanted to do. You like ice fishing, you like hunting, go do it. You like strip clubs, go to strip clubs. Whatever you want to do, because your whole life for 15 years was about this family and providing for this family. What happened, the funny thing was that following week, the check engine light had came up on the car that he bought her.
Right.
She says, oh, the check engine light come. He goes, what? And if you guys want to listen to my podcast is called Man School 202. You can go to manschool202.com or just go to dantenero.com and click on podcast. You can get it there. You can also get it on iTunes. It's called Man School 202. I have everybody on it. Men, women, trans, everything in between. Also, just go to dantenero.com and check out my podcast. If you need a one-on-one consultation, same thing, dantenero.com, click on consult, and I'll straighten you out.